So I had a fun idea today that's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of snowballed from here. In black are last year's final standings. In blue are where teams stand right now. And I wanted to do this because I know there's been a large swing. And I wanted to just compare last year's standings with this year's and just see just how crazy this year, how unpredictable this season has been. But at the same time, there's something else that's been revealed here. So it would be dishonest for me just to say, here's where they are in the standings and not discuss some other further down items here. So the Winnipeg Jets have moved up 17 spots from last year, and Tampa's moved up 16 spots. I expected Tampa to be good. I did not expect Winnipeg to be that good, and they are. Vegas, of course, being number one is just, I don't know. I still don't understand. Boston's moved up 9 spots. Nashville's moved up 11. This has caused Washington to drop 5. Now, Washington had dropped more than that about a month and a half ago. They're going back up the standings for sure. St. Louis has risen 3 spots. San Jose's risen 3. Dallas up 15 spots from last year. Toronto's up 4 spots from last year. New Jersey's up 16 spots from last year. Colorado 18 spots above where they were last year at this time. Or last year at the end of the year. Well, at this time I think they were 30th anyways. Calgary's up 2. LA's up 8. Minnesota, this is where the drops start. Minnesota's dropped 10 spots from last year. I know injuries play a large role in that. Columbus is down 12 spots from last year. Philly's up 2. Philly's actually improved 2 spots from last year. Right on the verge. Last year they were right on the verge too. The Rangers have dropped 9. Anaheim's dropped 13. Again, injuries were cause of part of that, but they've lost a couple now and there aren't as many injuries, so maybe it's not just injuries. Pittsburgh's dropped 18 spots from last year. The Islanders have dropped 4, and last year they were 1 point out of the playoffs. Everybody talks about Toronto playoffs, Islanders out, and yet the Islanders were only 1 point out last year. They weren't that far back. Chicago's dropped 19. Carolina's down 2. Edmonton's down 16 spots from last season's finish. Florida's down 2. Montreal's dropped 19 spots from last year. Detroit's down 2 spots. Vancouver's up a spot. Vancouver's gone from 29th to 28th. You know what this means? 27 years from now, they're going to be the best team in the league. Book it. Ottawa's dropped 17 spots. Buffalo's dropped 4. And Arizona's found a new home at 31, a spot that didn't exist last year. Last year, as bad as Arizona was, they were ahead of Vancouver and Colorado. This year, Vancouver passes Arizona by default. And Ottawa, the huge drop in Ottawa is unpredictable. But here's the thing. So it's fun to do this, and these teams have moved up, these teams have moved down. But look at last year's standings. The difference between 1st and 9th place in the East last year was 24 points. The difference in 1st and 9th place last year in the West was 22. Right now, it's 12 points from 1st to 9th in the East, and it's 11 points from 1st till 9th in the West. Now, they will tend to usually diverge. You'll have 9th place be a lot further back than 11 or 12 points by the end of the year, but it feels like everybody's closer together. The difference between 7th and 23rd in the league last year at the end of the year was 22 points. This year, it's 9. 9 points between 7th and 23rd. This is part of the reason why there's a lot of fans of teams that might be further down in the standings that says, well, wait, we're doing really well. Why isn't anybody talking about it? Partly because these standings are so crazy and they're all so close and teams are all so close to one another. And when you've got as many 3-point games as we tend to have on busy nights, it keeps everything bunched together. So between St. Louis and Carolina, there's 9 points. That's crazy. Just the fact that teams are this close together means that every game is a must-win. And when I do previews and review videos, every day seems to change things completely. And whether it does or it doesn't, that's the perception that I have when I'm watching these games and when I'm looking at results at the end of the night. It would be fun to do this again next month before the trade deadline and see where teams move from this video until then. Because technically, yes, a 7th place team in St. Louis could drop to, say, 19th by this time next month, and Anaheim could move up to 8th or 7th. it is a very close NHL we have right now. And there's not much difference between top and bottom anymore when it comes to talent. Even Arizona, and I mentioned this when I talk about Arizona, the effort's there. The coaching is there. I really don't blame Rick Tocchet for where they are. He could lose his job, but I don't blame him either. I don't think John Chayka's given them the best chance to win. And I don't know if that's because he intended to tear everything down and get a number 1 draft pick this year, or at least make the best effort to get a number 1 draft pick. But it's been a rough go for the Arizona Coyotes, and definitely for Buffalo as well. But they are the outliers. They're the exception to the rule. Almost any team that's in this category is still making the effort to get better. Almost none of these teams are in what you would call a full teardown, and just tanking. So it's some fun hockey to watch, but I thought it would be interesting to look at the standings compared to last year and see just how close everybody is together. It is a closely bunched bunch, as it were. Let me know what you guys think. Which team do you think is down here? Like, for instance, an Islanders. Maybe the Islanders make a jump. Pittsburgh is in the process of making a jump. They were lower than 20th not that long ago. Which team do you think is going to move up, and which team is on this side that you think is going to make a drop? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. And hey, this is just a fun little chart to look over and say, hey, look how close everybody is. And look at the huge jumps made by New Jersey, Dallas, Nashville, Winnipeg, Tampa, Colorado, and to a lesser extent, LA, who's been taking a lot of flack lately. But they're still eight spots ahead of where they were last year in the standings. So overall, there's some teams having some very good runs, and teams like Anaheim, Columbus, Minnesota, Pittsburgh, Montreal, and Edmonton and Chicago who've fallen out. And I can't think of a time when I've seen this much upheaval at the top of the standings. I know we usually get teams fall out of the playoffs and new teams in, but this seems just crazy to me. But let me know what you guys think, and I'll talk to you again soon.